we lose the number 3 engine. We actually shit the gearbox. The gearbox got destroyed, and so it started windmilling. So the props started actually going backwards. Hey, we got to dump fuel. People are like putting on, we call them poopy suits. This is the middle of the night in the North Atlantic.
All right, welcome back to the 31st episode of 11 Bang Gang. So, Brian Flanigan's back. If you have not listened to episode 26, probably do so. That's the beginning of everything that happened with him. But anyway, dude, welcome back. I think we left off talking about when you were fighting cancer. Everything was good with that. You got over that, and then you got back in the plane. You then became a pilot. Or no. You were already a pilot. You became.
I was already a pilot.
captain.
Yeah, I did my aircraft commander upgrade, and then
Okay.
I got sent to school for 2 years. So I basically had to go to. I went to Air Command and Staff College, which is like, for officers, it's kind of the school. It's kind of the track to go to command. And so you go to school, usually you do a staff gig, and then you come back and do like a DO and a commander job after that. And so I actually did a 2-year program. So my first year I taught squadron officer school, which is the captain's course for the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
So for all O3s that have to go through it, it's essentially like a leadership school. They go through for like 6 weeks. And so I was an instructor for that for a year, 10 months. And then I went over across the street to the Air Command and Staff College where I was a student for a year. And then, we essentially get a master's degree out of that, and like operational art and science, whatever it is. But that was a good gig, man. Teaching SOS, I thought, dude, when I first got selected for it, I was like, dude, this is gonna suck. I can't who signed me up for this? But when you go through it as a student, you're always complaining, especially ops guys that, have been deployed, whatever, because they never had instructors that were ops guys. They didn't have flyers or people that have actually done it. They're usually like, say, and not that, there's anything wrong with it, but like engineers, some maintenance guys or something like that. So a lot of the flyers are always like, it's hard to relate and it's hard to talk about things you don't have that. And so everybody's like, they should actually have pilots or ops people do that. And then they eventually did it, and then the guys that got selected for it, like, oh man, now I actually have to go and teach this. But it was good, man. I learned a lot, and when you have to teach something, it really makes you think about it, specifically like leadership, your thoughts on it and doing it. And so I probably learned the most during that year of teaching it than, a lot of my other assignments I did. But I had a great time, great people I was with, teaching, and just, you get to, we joke, we saw the best captain in the Air Force come through there, and we saw the worst captain in the Air Force come through there.
Yeah, I mean, like, did that give you any faith in the system, or did it degrade any faith in the system? No. Either way.
Absolute faith in the system, and just how many outstanding people there are. Just great people, because the first week you make them do a biography, like an Air Force bio. There's a certain template and a format. They got to do all this stuff, and you have to grade it. You start reading some of these, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm such a loser. Like this dude's got a degree from MIT in astrophysics.
Wow.
And like this dude is just so smart. And then come to find out, he's funny, he's articulate, he's probably even a better person. You're like, dude, like this is awesome.
Real deal.
This is the real deal. You're like, man, I hope this person stays in and does that, because this is what we need in the military and doing that. And so, and you get all walks of life, all different backgrounds and doing stuff. And that's the whole recipe, is that you get them, you're not so much teaching. And you learn that is that with adult education, it's not a one-way conversation. I can't just speak to you and data dump on you and you receive. It has to be self-discovery. So your job is to essentially get them talking and, talking about leadership and their experiences, and there's hands-on stuff you do, and then what they can take away from it. So they make them do like obstacle courses, all this stuff. They have to do leadership, and they learn how to debrief. Because there'll be like 12 of them. They got to get across a little water thing with a jerry can and 2x4. They got to like cross the obstacle. There's all these red areas they can't touch, and they go do it. And then you make them debrief. And then they're like, it's kind of like the what, so what, now what. And so they'll start talking, and they'd be successful, and I just start slow clapping. I'm like, man, congratulations, you nerds got over a piece of water with a 2x4. Like, who cares? Like, what? But what did you learn? Like, what are you gonna take? What did you learn from this that you're gonna take back to your unit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's certain little lessons learned that are generic for everybody. And, and they learn from experience. So I had an outstanding time doing it. Going to Air Command Staff College was great. You kind of get to take a knee. That's what they say. It's like, hey, you're here to take a knee, not take a nap. But essentially all you're doing is just reading, thinking, and writing. And that's kind of the best part about it. So a lot of self-reflection, kind of a lot of family time. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was good stuff. But after like 2 years of it, you're kind of ready to get back in the ops stuff. And then that's when I got sent back to Hurlburt to go fly the gunship again.
Okay, so then you flew as a commander.
Yep.
Yeah.
So as an aircraft commander, left seat.
Yeah. Yeah, left seat. How did you, is there really a big difference in left seat, right seat? I mean, I know as far as like experience and but like, other parts of the military really separate like the new guy from it. And I know you had already said that the whole plane is a crew, you guys are on a first name basis. So, how did it feel to fly though in the left seat? Because you didn't think you were going to make it back. There was a time when you had that cancer scare where you're like, bro, I'm done, bro. I ain't flying again.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, no, I was grateful, man. I was grateful to do it. There is a big difference, and it's kind of like being the starting quarterback versus the backup. And not that the backup can't do it, but you kind of get to watch and learn. From the right seat. You learn how to fly the plane. That's a big part of it because that's it, man. It's just you two up there. Ain't nobody saving you how to land this thing or employ it. And so a lot of systems for the aircraft you have to be an expert on and know that. And then it's just like leadership and your guys' stuff. You have to know enough about everybody's job to be able to call, BS on it or know that they're actually doing it or what right sounds like. And then as aircraft commander, you're setting the tone for the crew, man. So if you come in there and you're smoking and joking, or you're, allowing guys to cut corners and do stuff, you're kind of gonna get that feel. But if you go in there professional, telling, hey, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna get after it, you kind of can do it. So that is the nice part about it. When you get in the left seat, you don't have to bend your personality to the left seat guy to you. And so, and just like leadership, you learn, you learn from the guys and the gals in the left seat. Like, hey, I want to be like them, or I want to pick and choose some of their traits and things they do that I like. And there's other times you're like, well, I ain't doing that. And like when I become an aircraft commander, like, I ain't gonna do that, or that didn't work out, or I'm not gonna treat people that way. So, but it's nice, man.
That's a killer. I'm glad you said that. That's killer. That's been one of the things I always say, because I had a really terrible platoon sergeant one time, and my squad leader came to us and was like, look, I don't like that mofo. And he was like, and I shouldn't be saying this to you. He said, but I'm going to tell you guys for your future career, take even the good things from the bad leaders and make yourself who you want to lead you. And he was like, mission accomplishment. Remember the core values, the core traits. But he said everything else, like you can make yourself. You don't have to copy anybody. And that, I'll never forget that conversation. I took that for the rest of my 6 years in the Marine Corps, and it worked out great.
And it's the same with us. And I did that, and again, some of the best leadership lessons I learned is from bad leaders.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that, or how they act that way, or how they run their crew. I mean, and we have some examples of it, and then you see ones you're like, man, I want to be just like that. I want to be an outstanding pilot, professional, fun. Everybody wants to be around. Guys are going to break their neck for you, do everything they can. But it's setting the tone, and we taught that at SOS. That's a big part of it too. Is not just in the aircraft, but outside the aircraft, because in the squadron we run it, man. So you're doing current operations, training, evaluation, all that stuff. And so you get those leadership opportunities. But no, riding left seat, man, it was all. I mean, that's the pinnacle, absolutely the pinnacle.
Now as far as the plane, did you ever have an incident where you were like, I'm going to crash this plane, like a real close call?
No.
Really?
The only. Okay. So, there's a couple maybe. So one, when I was a nav, I thought I sat in the back when I was a nav, right? And the U model, the navigator's in the back, and they call it the Battle Management Center, the BMC. We were in Iraq one time, and we almost had a midair with a Sherpa. And so,
Whoa.
like, not having a window and just feeling like, hearing the pilots' voices and then, like, G'ing up the aircraft and, like, you're like, that was probably the scariest of, like, oh, yeah, we almost hit a Sherpa. Wow. And I just being like, and you're not having any control, just like, I'm along for the ride, man.
Now,
so that was one of the.
What is a Sherpa exactly?
It was like a cargo army plane.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I used to fly them in and out of Balad all the time and doing stuff. But that airspace getting them out of there, man, was just like a wild, wild west. I mean, we had some procedures, but definitely head on a swivel. And then my first time I did a tail swap as a navigator, I basically just got checked out. We took a plane over, you take it over the pond, and we had to air refuel. So we air refueled like twice, and we're supposed to land in the Azores. And so it's like, man, it's like an 11-hour flight. I mean, it's long. I mean, it's like the Memphis Belle, dude. We ain't going fast, anywhere. Anyway, so we get up and we get a full bag of gas off the second tanker. And so we get off there, and man, it must have been like, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes later, we lose the number 3 engine. We actually shit the gearbox. And so the gearbox got destroyed, and so it started windmilling. So the props started actually going backwards. So you had to slow down when that happens and do that. And so we had to dump fuel because it was so heavy. So they're calling back and like, hey, we got to dump fuel. And like, what do we got to dump to? So I'm like jumping through my butt, trying to calculate what we need, all that stuff. Yeah. People are like putting on, we call them poopy suits. So it's an anti-exposure suit that you wear that's like basically a survival suit. Like people were breaking those out. And so I'm new, so I'm just like, this is bad. Like this is the middle of the night in the North Atlantic, like in October.
Middle of the night?
Oh, yeah, dude, in North Atlantic. So I'm like, if we go in, this is going to be bad. Yeah. And one, we're going to have to bail out because you can't, you won't be able to survive a ditch. A ditch is when you land the aircraft on the water. Right. Maybe if you go up front, you'll be able to survive at the back. You won't be able, with all the guns and crap, you won't be able to do it. But anyway, I was like, man, this is pretty bad. And so we landed, luckily, high winds. And I'm like, man, like, okay, I'm new. So I'm like, I don't know if this is like on the scale of 1 to 10, how bad this was. Yeah. And I'll never forget the flight engineer. The flight engineer is an enlisted guy. He sits in between the pilots, and he's the expert on the aircraft system-wise. He's the one that pre-flights it. He's the corporate knowledge. Like, it's like, Inge, what are we doing here? Like, what's wrong? Like, let me fix it. And we had this older flight engineer, crusty man. Like, I think he's a senior master. So E8. You know what I mean? And so we land, and like he gets out and he kisses the ground, and we're at like the bar that night. I'm like, so like, how bad was this? He's like, that is the most uncomfortable I've ever been in an aircraft in my life.
Holy shit!
He's like, and this dude's been in combat flying for like probably 30 years or something like that. I'm like, probably 20-something. I'm like, okay, because that's how I felt. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was pretty bad. He's like, yeah, that was bad, dude. He's like, that we couldn't get that thing to stop. Like, it was gonna drag us down. And so, so that was probably the only, those two instances, I think. As a pilot, nothing really crazy. I mean, you're always thinking that way. As a pilot, you're always thinking, where am I going to put this thing down? Obviously, with a multi-engine aircraft, we have 4 engines.
Right.
And so if you lose one, you can limp somewhere. But with the gunship, like we call it a service ceiling. So, if you lose one engine, we still have 3 others, but you have a service ceiling because we're so heavy, we can only fly so high. So we have, without the bore, it's called drift down. So like if you're at like 15,000 feet and you lose an engine in a certain weight, you may not be able to hold that altitude. You're going to have to go down to this certain, go down to like 10,000 feet or 9,000 feet.
Right.
If you lose 2 engines in the U-model gunship, the 2 in the service ceiling is subterranean.
Oh
yeah, like you ain't going, like it's 1 to a full stop. Like, right. You may be able to delay it, but you're probably going in some way. And we can dump fuel and do all these things. So you're always thinking, where am I going to go? What am I going to dump to? And then also, like in Afghanistan, a lot of those valleys you get into, you can't get out of them on a 3-engine service ceiling. It's a different routing. You're going to have to fly through the valleys, which is going to require more fuel. And so you're always thinking, like, as a pilot, you're always thinking, what am I going to do if I lose an engine right now? Where that's on the takeoff roll, on short final, it's always going through your mind of that. And so you kind of just plan for it.
Man, So complacency kills is still
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. But, luckily that's part of being a crew aircraft. Even my job now, like we joke, I'll jack something up and I'll go, well, there goes my perfect flight. Like, because you're never going to have one. But that's why the other people, the other pilots there's other crew members that catch it.
Right.
We call that crew resource management, CRM. And you guys probably have something like that, but that's what it is that we're correcting each other's mistakes. We're verifying. Like if a guy's doing something, it's not standard. You're saying something. We have ways of intervening. So say, you start getting slow, we have certain call outs that we do. And eventually we call it intervening is I'm going to take the aircraft because you never know what's going on. The dude could be stroking out over there,
right.
Or he's disoriented. It's all blacked out. We're on night vision goggles, and he thinks he's straight and level, and then we're in a freaking, a 45-degree turn. And so a lot of that stuff happens, man, and it can happen to anybody. And I used to, before I became a pilot, you see these stories of guys landing gear up and or landing at the wrong airport. You're like, how could you do that? Like, what a dumbass. I'll tell you what, you become a pilot, you learn real quick how easy that is to do. It is really easy to do. And you just get jammed up. And some of it can be complacency. Yeah. There's a lot of things, and they call them like contributing factors that go to it. Yeah. There's radio calls going on and messes up your mojo, and all of a sudden you forget to put the gear down, or you're landing on the wrong runway. And so we have procedures because it's happened. Yeah. So we have procedures and there's things that aircraft that help prevent that and do it. But that's why having a crew there, man, is just to back each other up. And that's what it is that, hey, I got no ego, dude. You see something, say something. Don't assume I know or have a plan. Like, you ain't going to offend me, and in my community, we've always had that. And that's also in the tactical environment. I probably talked about last episode is that we would always, even the youngest crew members, brand new 18-year-old gunner, just checked out. Like, dude, you got to speak up because you're going to be the one to save us. And we've had countless times where that was the case. Yeah. That, you're so dialed in, looking through a soda straw, bangs out, ready to shoot. And then, you forget about the helos about to come through the RAS into our shooting orbit. And the gunner in the back that's just sitting there in the dark listening to everything is like, hey, aren't those helos supposed to be coming through this time? You're like, oh, shit, yes. Yeah. Safe 1 and 2, And so you're like, dude, thank you. And so you want to empower everybody to speak up. And there's a lot of times that people say something that's like, no, that's not right. Or, hey, but it's always like, dude, I love it. Keep speaking up, keep saying something because you need everybody doing that. And you need everybody having their situational awareness at the highest they level can get because in the gunship, we can't get a round out until everybody consents. Yeah. Right? Everybody's got a consent switch. The gunners, the booth, the sensors, the fire patrol officer, the flight deck, everybody's got to agree. And if someone doesn't agree, they put their consent down and the round doesn't go out. Wow. And so always fighting to have situational awareness. And that's one of the hardest parts of the job is, especially like in the back when I was a navigator, is that, you're busy doing something, you're on the radio talking, and things start moving fast, and then you're behind the power curve. You're kind of in the yellow, like, hey, I'm not really sure. And all of a sudden, the Foco's like, Foco's ready. And they're waiting for you to confirm it, and they're going to arm a gun and shoot. And you got to say, I'm not really sure where the friendlies are. Can you show me again? Yeah. And it's like you're stopping the train. You don't want to be that guy, but that's what separates a crew, because a lot of times what happens is that you're not alone. You think you're the jerk that doesn't know what's going on or not really clear in the situation. Friendlies are here, bad guys are here the airplanes. You're like, I don't have a warm fuzzy. Like, I'm not really 100%, but you're like, am I the only one? Right. And so having the guts to say something like, hey, do we know where all the friendlies are? Because I don't know. Yeah. And then all of a sudden the sensor be like, yeah, I don't know either. You're like, and then the pilot may be like, yeah, I'm not tracking it. And they're like, oh, so I'm not alone. Like, hey, okay, well, cool. Let's all get on the same page. Hey, walk me through the friendly positions again. Bam, 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 bam. Cool. All right. Yeah. All right. Now all our situational awareness is up. Let's shoot. Because that's what saves the day, is that we'd have 13 people thinking. 13 different minds contributing to that. And when all 13 people have high situational awareness and they all agree to shoot, good things are going to happen. And when they're not, we're not shooting, because you can't take that round back, man. You guys know that.
Oh, yeah.
Once you fire
Oh,
that
yeah.
round, you can't take it back. So that's definitely a strength of that. But so it applies, the CRM piece applies to flying planes, backing each other up, and then also to the crew dynamic of the tactical employment.
Wow. That's that whole because it's like what is it? Yeah, CRM, risk management. What's the beginning again? The C?
Crew resource management.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, so I mean that's the thing is in combat they always told us on the ground is like there's a ton of risk in what we do, but everything rule we make mitigates the risk. And calling in air support has always been huge and I've actually heard a pilot asked to reconfirm friendly positions more than once in
Yes.
combat. Heard it. And it's like, hey man, like and I've seen like the fact get frustrated and be like, fuck, dude, we've already told him, but excuse me, not the fact, the JTAC. I've
Yeah.
seen a JTAC say that. I've seen the fact be like, hold on, wait, because the fact is a pilot. The forward air controller, he's a pilot. And so he knows the game. And the game is that the boys upstairs are confused. And and you really
you don't want them being confused.
Yeah, because I mean, we seen it like nothing sticks in my mind more than that movie We Were Soldiers. You ever seen that?
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah, man.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Broken Arrow.
God, yeah, but when they bring that napalm in and that guy gets burned and he's like, tell my kids, I love them.
Oh
and
yeah,
dude, that's fucking heavy moment, dude.
It is. It's very Homer. And then what does he say to that controller? Keep calling it in.
Yeah.
He's like, short memory, keep calling in because that's a lifeline, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And unfortunately in combat, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's a part of it, and it's not intentional. And and some of the bad shoots my communities had, it was it was not of any malintentions, right?
Right.
It's combat. Situational awareness gets low, or things get happen, and just does it, And if it's me in the seat, it's probably me it happens to.
Right.
And there's countless other times, man, that we're this close to something bad happening, shooting the wrong target, or God forbid, hitting a friendly position. And so that's why we beat it into our heads. We beat it into our training. Again, our number one thing is where are the friendlies. Everybody else we can deal with, but where are the friendlies? Where are the friendly positions? And that's part of something we have to brief every time. So part of our briefing when we fire a round is briefing that. And we got to know that distance, and everybody's got to agree on it. So a fire mission, so I'll give you an example. So say there's a JTEC on the ground, hey, we're taking fire from the tree line here. So they're going to call it up to the gunship, say, hey, they're going to do it. We call it a modified 5 line, right? So, hey, my position, what my mark is, what the target is, azimuth and distance, and then if there's any mark on it. And then they're essentially going to call it back. We're going to read it back. And then they're going to give us clearance, and we're going to shoot it. If we don't see it, we're going to ask them to adjust fire for us. Say the guys are in a they're in a trench line, a barricaded spot. We can't see them in the tree line. We know they're there. They're shooting from, but I guess you can't see it. We're going to shoot, and then the guy's going to adjust fire. If we see them, we're going to call tally, which means, hey, I got the dudes. Like, I got them. I'm going to shoot them. Just give me clearance, and we're going to shoot. We're going to adjust our own fire. And so essentially be like, hey, Hammer 2-2, this is, I don't know, Cyborg 1, fire mission. Like, hey, send it. Yeah. Hey, my position marked by IR strobe. I have target, troops in the open. 100 for, 500 meters. No mark, or marked by tracer fire. And then the navigator and the gunship will read it back. Cyborg 01, Hammer 2-2, copy your position. IR strobe 100, 500 meters, marked by troops in the tree line, marked by tracer. How copy? Hey, that's a good copy. You were clear. You cleared to engage. Cleared hot. And
see, you out of your in your opinion, and I haven't heard this many times. I feel like that part is the most official part of the whole transmission, right? So you get the bird,
it's the legality of it.
That's what I'm saying. You get the initial brief from homeboy, you give him the official, like you're talking about the 5 line or whatever, your call for fire mission, and then once that he repeats that back to you, it's like, all right, homie, what do you need? Like, we got it. Hey, I'm gonna shift fire 200, bring it in. You know what I mean? And then it's just like you're just talking after that.
And that's and a lot of it. a lot of it too depends on the situation where you get some guys, like some of the special operator guys, you know, and if they're in a firefight, they're like, because a lot of times you'll call it out. Like, hey, I got dudes fired in your direction, you know, to 200 for 350. You know, they're like, yeah, fucking shoot them. You know, you're like, whoa, okay, so just confirm we were clear to engage. Target 200, yep, clear to engage. You're like, that's what I need to hear. And there's also times in the war where the ROE was a lot stricter. And we had tactical directives where they had to have certain things. They had to say certain things to make it legal. And we have different customers that have different requirements depending on who they are. And so you got to know that, because some of these guys will try to get you to shoot and it's not a valid target legality-wise. It's like, no, you're not pinned down and not unable to maneuver. Like, I got to hear those words, you know?
Right.
And so, but they pass that fire mission up, and then the internal sausage making essentially starts with the fire control officer. So while the navigator's reading it back, he's doing all the button pushing to essentially make that happen. So he's going to assign a gun to a sensor operator. So he's going to, and then so say he's going to give the 105, which is gun 3, to the IR. So it's an IR sensor, and then we have the TV. Say he's going to give that to the 40 millimeter to them. So essentially, he'll do all that, and then the navigator read it back, and as soon as he unkeys the mic, the focus is going to chime in. He's going to say, I got IR, gun 3, channel A, trainable. I got TV, gun 2, channel B, trainable. Distance to the friendlies is 100 for 353 meters. Focus ready. And basically saying it's all ready to go. This is a brief. The navigator's watching everything. He's like, basically, it's like the, in a casino, it's like the pit boss is watching the dealer guy, the guy. Like, that's what's happened, is that he's verifying, hey, everything he just said, did he actually do it? I'm verifying it, you know? And if it is, and also the distances of friendlies, is that, hey, I have verified that, like, the distance he said, that through all my instrumentation, that I agree with that. And if it is, it's going to say, nav from his target, clear to fire. Then the aircraft commander up front, which would be me as well, would sit there and listen to everything. And then he or she's looking through a HUD and has all that symbology, and also making sure that everything that was briefed matches the HUD and that the distance is correct. You agree. And if it is, it'll say arm 2 and 3. And the flight engineer is going to reach up, arm 2 and 3. And then the pilot has a consent, flips it up, and then that gives the sensor operator a hot weapon, in which essentially it would say train with a box around it, and then that means they have a hot gun, and then it's game on. And then boom, so they'd shoot, and the fire control officer would tell them, hey, put one out, right? Like, especially remark, hey, TV, put 3 rounds out, or put 1 round out, and then we'll just fire. And so as soon as that round goes out, the navigator keys in my rounds away, just fire. And so essentially that key the guy to come up, look, watch it, because it takes like 6-7 seconds for the round to impact.
That's wild.
So it'd impact, and he'd be like, hey, I just fired 20 meters east, or hey, on target fire for a FET. And then you just, you would just wail on it. And then basically they would call target destroyed, or we would call it. If you're hitting troops in the open, they're all on the ground in pieces. You're like, hey, no more movement, in a fire mission. Like, cool, in a fire mission. And then everything's saped up, and they keep going on.
Now, this is slightly flying nerd question for me. You got the plane in a bank as the commander. I get you're listening to that. You're okay. Yep, that sounds right. Because you've been back there. You've been a nav man, so you kind of know how it runs. So you're like, okay, yep, that's right. Is the plane in autopilot on a track?
So essentially, we have the A320 we fly on nominals. Okay, so nominals is bank angle, airspeed, and altitude. Right. And so you have to be, and you set those nominals depending on the orbit size. And so you have to be on those parameters for the fire control system to be accurate.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
And so you have the ability. So usually we would have altitude hold on. So so the co-pilot in the right seat would do altitude and airspeed. And that was always a joke. It's like, hey, altitude and airspeed. Like, shut up, altitude and airspeed. So they'd be in the right seat. They'd have the altitude hold on. So the aircraft would be on autopilot to hold the altitude. Right. The throttles, they would have to work. The planes now have auto throttles, but back in our plane, the co-pilot was basically jockeying the throttle forward and back to maintain airspeed.
Right.
You know, so you're basically like sawing wood, man, just in and out, depending on the guy's racking it up or it's easy, just kind of he's working airspeed to keep on it. And then the aircraft commander is in a left-hand turn with his looking over his left shoulder through a HUD, through night vision
Yeah.
goggles, and they're
Right.
doing the bank.
Mhm.
Right, so they're keeping it on bank and basically trying to keep the sensor in the trainable box. But we also have the ability to couple that up, and the plane would actually fly the bank angle as well. So the only thing you'd have to
Yeah.
mainly do is just airspeed. So if it's like a low wind situation, you can do that. But because there's wind, you have to bank up the aircraft to get it in the box, and then you have to shoot, and then come out of it to fix it. And then if you're shooting in the graded mode where the gun is, because in that mode, the gun is on a hydraulic gun mount.
Yeah.
So it's moving, it's looking wherever the sensor's looking with certain hardware and software limitations.
Mhm.
But in a fixed mode, the gun is fixed. So then the pilot is having to steer the aircraft and aim the gun and match it with the primary aim line and shoot. And so that's the bread and butter. We call it shooting fixed or semi.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy because he's like basically like a video game, but you're flying the plane, but you're looking at over your left shoulder essentially through the
Down.
HUD.
With
Yeah.
a big heavy ass helmet. So like, dude, it's called like gunship neck. Everybody's necks are all jacked up because you're literally sitting forward, facing forward,
Yeah.
and then take your head and look all the way over your left shoulder and down. And that's how you're holding your neck for like 5-6 hours a night.
Wow.
Looking down at it. So, you know, you come over to the right, your neck's just like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
my neck.
yeah.
You know, so you try to cheat and do whatever, but it's a big known problem. You know, people get their necks fused and stuff for it.
Man, you would think almost, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you could solve that problem because if he's basically got to have line of sight through the HUD, you know what I'm saying? I mean, unless you made it where it just transferred over forward, but it's technically the picture to the left, but I don't know if that would jack up the way you were flying the plane.
Yeah, I think there's
know,
some, the F-35 has got some cool stuff where they have it over their visor. So basically
Right.
it'll pull like full motion video and display it in their helmet.
Yeah.
So they can kind of look wherever they want to look and see it. I don't think the gunship has that, but it's just, you know, I mean, the plane I flew was a 1990s version. You know, it's based off a 1960s version, you know, of the H model. And so it just kind of is what it is, but very, very effective, man. And it's important because the sensor operators are looking through those soda straws.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what sensor they're looking at. So to have the pilot up front has the bird's eye view, you kind of take a step back and get to see the whole picture. You know, and you get to see a lot. You get to see what's going on, who's getting shot at, where the healers are going in. And so you can kind of provide more broader context to everybody. And a lot of times you're going to see something before the sensors do because you have the big, you know, hey, I see tracer fire coming here. And so what you can do is you can move the HUD and put the HUD on whatever you want them to look at, and they can slave to it.
Oh,
so
nice.
like say you have a position there, and you're like, oh, slave to HUD, and they'll hit a button and the sensor will go right to it. And like, yeah, you're on the spot. And like, okay, there's 5 dudes there. Like, oh yeah, that's where the fire came from.
Yeah.
So it allows us to rapidly get eyes on stuff.
Yeah. You can basically mark stuff and then it'll swing the sensor to it. Man,
which
that's
pretty
sweet.
Plus a lot of other aircraft can do that. Other sensors can do it. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's wild. How high are you guys?
It just depends.
I don't need you. I know that might be.
Yeah. The upper and lower thousands. So like probably like 8 to like probably 7 to like 12,000 feet, somewhere around in there.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Dude, that's just
AGL. So that's above the ground.
Right. So that's what what's a mile? Like 2,000 something?
5,000 feet.
5,000 feet. So that's still 2 miles up.
Yeah. Yeah. You're shooting bullets.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and we put it on people, man. We put it through,
That's what I'm saying.
We put it on them. So it's a very accurate system. I mean, it's still a gun. There's still some air that goes into it. A lot of the guns are tweaked, which means it's like your rifle. Your hunting rifle's sighted in, right? And so, but you may go to a valley and shoot, and the wind could be different,
right?
And so you're going to have to adjust based off of the wind. That's essentially what we would have to do is that we'd adjust for the wind,
right?
So, and then they would know. The sensor operators were experts at that, of knowing how the gun was shooting. So they called their offset. So it's like you shoot your rifle, and hey, I know it's hitting just a little left and a little low.
Yeah.
So as opposed to messing with my scope, I just hold an offset, Kentucky windage, and shoot.
Man.
And
So
that's what those
last
guys are doing.
question
Yeah.
about the C-130, and then we'll move on. How much effect did the guns have on the flight pattern? Like, there's this whole rumor that, like, and I don't know if it's true 100%, but the A-10 could only shoot for like 8 seconds before it stalled the aircraft out. I
Oh
don't know how
yeah,
true
yeah.
that
I don't
is.
know. That's A10 guy. I mean, yeah. I mean, their speeds. I mean, I think I
Well,
don't know.
they were
Maybe
saying that it just pushed back on it, slowed the airspeed down.
Yeah, I mean, you maybe get a little bit of that, I guess. I'm not an 18 guy. You have to ask them about that. But those guys are usually in a
Yeah,
dive. They're usually on a dive and doing that. But I'd imagine there's also burst length and cooling for the barrel, things that go. With our
yeah.
25 millimeter, which is it's the same gun off the Harrier jet.
Hmm.
There's
Okay.
cooling restrictions for it, or were. It's out of commission now, but
Yeah.
there's essentially once you hit a certain limit of rounds, you had to have a cooling limitation on there so you don't blow the gun up.
Oh
But yes,
yeah.
you can feel that it would not take you off parameters like, oh man, I gotta flex it over here. It's just you can feel it kick. So when you shot a
Yeah.
105, like, you can feel it kick. If you're in the back of the plane, a lot more, but up
Yeah.
front you can still feel it. You know what I mean? It's like boom. It kind
That's
of kicks, it
wild.
kind of goes back, and then when you're shooting the 25, you would actually have to put some rudder in there because that thing would just start mowing, dude, and start having an effect on where the rounds are going.
Wow. That's wild. That's
Yeah.
just crazy, man. First of all, I don't know. I feel like now if I ever went to combat again and had to be underneath the C-130, like, I trust you guys, but I'd be like, man, that motherfucker's 2 miles up shooting right
Oh,
here
dude,
to us.
they have now
No.
they have precision guided munitions. So they have Hellfires. They have I think small diameter bombs. So they have a lot more precision tools than we had.
Wow.
So I mean, for us to hit a moving vehicle, I mean, that was you were chasing some things. It probably wasn't for collateral, probably the greatest asset, but if that's all you had, it's all you had. And we had
Mm,
techniques that we would use and do to engage a moving vehicle. But now they have a lot more tools in their arsenal. It's a very, very capable gunship. You can fly it higher, faster. It's overpowered. They have a lot more weaponry to do. But sometimes that can be more paralyzing than
yeah.
it's like for us, it's like we just go shoot this guy.
We just
You
want to
know,
get it.
So I
Yeah.
give you an example. It's like it's like for them, I joke. It's like they have so many ways they can kill somebody. It's like, oh man, let's shoot a Hellfire. Let's drive in the shoot a Hellfire with a 45-second time of flight. Then we'll roll on tangent and we'll shoot the 30, and then the rounds will be impacted at the same time. The hell, it's like you're trying to church it. It's like you ever seen the movie Austin Powers?
Yeah.
Where
Oh yeah.
Dr. Evil is trying to kill the guy. He's like he creates his whole scheme, and then Scott his son's like, hey, I got a gun in my room. Let's just shoot him right now. I'll go grab him, shoot him in the head. That's it. And that's my joke. It's like, I got a gun. Just shoot him. He's right there. Just shoot him with a 40. It's like,
Yeah.
no, let's make this more complicated than it needs to be.
That's
But I joke about that. But I wish we
yeah.
had those kind of tools because, we would basically lace for other people. So we could lace precision guided mission in. So say an Apache was going to put a Hellfire or something, we could lace for them if they wanted us to, or their assets, like a Reaper, Predator. We call it buddy lasing, where
Mm.
somebody mules it, they shoot it or drop it, and then we can lace it in. We do it bombs too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's God, that's crazy, man. Like, it's just wild that we can do that. But that's like the infantry now got that new, and I'm not a fan of it for the record, but SIG got that new contract with that new XM7 and then the other one, and then SIG has this like $15,000 infantry scope that each one costs like 15 grand.
Don't lose
But
that.
dude, yeah, so they talk to each other. So one dude can mark the target for the rest of the squad.
Yeah.
Plus, they give wind, direction, distance, all that.
So dudes can laze it from separate angles and get the win. I saw a dude, I went hog hunting. I did something, a veteran hunt, and a guy he had a set of binos that were paired to his dude, it's probably like a $10,000 scope, but did the exact same thing. He could laze it and then it would freaking go.
Yeah. And so it's like, but the thing is like, I'm like, bro, the best kind of fighting was just the ACOG, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's just an ACOG, bro. It's like, get out there. And then in the last episode, me and Weber talked about it, but he said, that there was a study that they asked how many people actually fired their, when they fired their weapon in combat, they actually aimed. And there's a lot of people that said no. I was just sending it in the right
Just hammer down,
direction.
dude.
Yeah, bro. Just
YOLO,
suppressing,
somebody's down
dog.
there. Yeah. Oh, I can
But
imagine, especially when you're getting shot at, like trying to
yeah.
get up there and aim and get perfect. Imagine how you get shot in the head.
I mean, it depends on distance, and it depends on a lot of stuff. But like like you're talking about, I mean, when it's coming from a tree line and you're just doing everything you can do to keep your head down because it's just impacting around you, man. When you get the opportunity, you're not taking a lot of seconds, bro. You're just sending them.
Yeah. Well, that's, I mean, same with us is that, and I probably talked about last episode. It's like usually it's like we got to get around it. It's a speed game. We got to suppress. We got to suppress it. We got to
Right.
suppress the threat. We got to get rounds down. Like as long as we don't hit our friendlies, like we just got to get it close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's other times where it's like, we got our guys are getting shot at. Like we have some times to hit these guys. We can kind of set them up the way we want to do. We can aim, and get the way we want it. Because it's very, very similar.
Man, yeah, he's weird. Like tell the C-130 to suppress.
Yeah,
it just sounds wild.
Oh, turn us loose, dude.
So you left that and you end up going to the MQ-9. Why?
I wanted to fly.
You were flying.
So when I came back, that was the issue is that because I was late to rate to pilot, I had cancer. I went to school for 2 years. So my rank didn't really match my flight time. And when I came back, like I was able to kind of hide out probably for like a year. I was like an ADO, which is like an assistant operations officer as a major. You get to fly the line. So I got to deploy as an aircraft commander, which was great. I got to shoot in combat, did that. But then they're kind of like, hey, like you're a school guy. Like, what's the? And I'm like, I don't know what the plan is. You tell me. They're like, yeah, because I pinned on lieutenant colonel. And so, but they were retiring my aircraft. They were retiring the U-model gunship in 2020. And so they essentially made me the inspector general for the wing, which is it's a stepping stone. But I mean, it's like being a cop. Nobody wants to be your friend. You're the complaint police, all that stuff. And so I was doing that job, which is a stepping stone to go be a DO of a squadron, which is like the number 2. And then you fleet up to the commander, which is basically battalion level command. And so I got notified, it's like, hey, you're going to go be the CJSOAC Alpha J3, which is a combined joint special operations air component for Afghanistan, the 3. So you guys call it S3, but basically it's a joint 3. And so you're the ops guy, or the air guy for, it's an 06 command, but essentially divvying out air power to the task force and all the special operation guys. And so
for my civilian listeners, that basically means like operations, essentially.
Yeah. So essentially, I was in charge of all special operations aircraft in Afghanistan. And so I was in charge of giving them out, putting them to work for special operation customers. Because special operation customers, whether you're a Green Beret, Navy SEAL, Army Ranger, MARSOC Raider, like they all have requirements to go do their jobs. And so they need air power. They need ISR, they need airlift, they need helos, they need, we have some civilian aircraft, they need fire support. And so they all put in a request for that. And then the air component's job is to then divvy it out, is to make sure they're all getting squared away with the limited assets we have. And so, the top commander is setting the priorities, like the 2-star, was setting priorities, and then it's our job then to divvy out the air power to us. So that was a crazy job, man. We did some cool stuff. We did some presidential level missions while we were out there.
Oh wow!
So yeah, it was really, really cool, man. I learned a lot and did that. So, but right around that same time, I was essentially deciding whether I want to go to the reserves or not, because I wanted to fly. And once you start to move up in rank, and I'm sure all the kind of officers know this, is that your primary job anymore is not to operate. It's to command and lead and do those things. And so I knew I was going to go back and be a DO of a squadron. I was never really going to get to fly. My plane was retiring, so I wasn't. They're probably going to give me just a basic qual, like in a PC-12. They probably never cared if I was ever going to fly again.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, man, I did all this stuff. I want to be a pilot. Gone through cancer, all, school, everything. And so I decided to go to the reserves. And so the reason why I chose that unit was not because I want to fly an MQ-9, is because they could offer me orders, active duty orders, so I could get my active duty retirement. Because I went to the reserves at 17 years active duty.
Wow.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
but that unit could essentially guarantee me that I could get 3 years of active duty orders so I could get my active duty retirement as opposed to reserve
Makes
retirement.
sense.
And
Yeah.
also, it was at Herbert Field, so I didn't have to move. So my plan was to start there, go get an airline gig, get my line number, and then go back on mill leave, finish out my 3 years, and then retire. And so I did that. I went to the unit, fly MQ-9. It's a special operations MQ-9 unit, second special operations squadron. And then I went and started an airline job. I got a job at a regional, and I got my check ride with them March of 2020, the week COVID hit.
Oh.
And so they're like, yeah, man, just wait on your training. So I got my airline transport pilots license in the sim. I got all that. I was ready to go, but everything stopped. And so I had to go to the schoolhouse with MQ-9. So I went back to the military on orders, and I did that. And then like a year and a half later is when everything started picking up again. They're like, hey, all right, everybody come back if you can. And then I had like a year and a half till I could retire. So I just stayed in and I retired out. But I eventually took over as the DO, the director of operations, which is essentially the operations guy. And then also my other hat was like deputy commander for the squadron. So backing up, so all the OT&E, organized, train, equip, all the people stuff the commander dealt with, I had to help out with that, do that. But I essentially was in charge of our steady state combat lines. So we had 2 to 3 steady state combat lines, all the training, evaluation, scheduling, all the advanced stuff that we were working on, trying to accelerate change for the future of new TTPs and doing stuff. That was my wheelhouse. It's a very, very gratifying job, man, and very cool because I joke. It's like you get to, you're killing them from the couch, man. It's like deer hunting for your back porch. It's like I ain't got to leave. You know?
But how is it? How does it? When you fly a real plane, and I'm just going off what I've heard, there's positive feedback in the rudder. There's positive feedback, in the yoke that you're holding on to. So how does it feel like when you're essentially flying a giant RC plane? Is there any positive feedback, in the controls, or is it just?
So I would tell you it is a real plane. Like, and I joke, like in the community, they call them RPAs. Remotely piloted aircraft. So if you say drone, they get all sensitive. They get all butthurt. It's funny because like you talk to people, you're like, oh, I fly RPAs, and like, oh, okay. You're like, yeah, drones. Like, oh, okay, drones. I know what you mean, but it's not a drone. Drone is like something that's just like autonomous that just like goes and does its thing. You give it a task game, and it just does its thing. We're actually having to fly this thing, and so and I can say it because I'm an airline pilot. I've flown a gunship, and I've done MQ-9s. You get all you want with it. The only thing you really don't get as a pilot is instrument work. So like flying ILS and this, you don't get that stuff. But when I was leaving, one of the big things we were doing was the SATCOM launch and recovery. So we were actually started taking off and landed them as well. And so you're getting it all, man. Dude, that plane is the size of an A-10.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to tell people. I'm glad you said that. Like, I went and had dinner recently at an Air Force base. I think I told you this off the recording last time, but I sat underneath one. They had it in the museum, but it said MQ-9 Reaper, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like this is it.
Thing's
and
mean.
I was like, "Dude, that thing is bigger than a Cessna. Like it is huge.
It's literally the size of an A-10. Now the MQ-1, the Predator, is smaller. Right, that's a smaller one, which I think most people kind of. But even that dude is still that's probably about the size of it's bigger than a 172 Cessna. But the MQ-9, dude, I mean, it's a turboprop. I mean, dude, we're cruising the 20,000s. Like, I mean, it's carrying 500-pound bombs, Hellfires. Like, dude, it's mean. And like, and it's capability wise, it's awesome. It's like a moped though. It's like it's all fun and games. So your friends see you on one, but I'll tell you, but that community, dude, like those dudes are pulling triggers, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like those dudes are pulling. Like I mean, the Iran war now with the fighter guys, they've got a lot more action. But before that, dude, like, RPA dudes, like they're killing people every week. Shooting. I mean, in high level, doing things. And so, it's awesome because you don't have to deploy. But yeah, you talk about the feel. You don't have that sensation, but the aircraft kind of protects it. It flies itself a little bit. So it is easy to fly, right? Like you're very rarely hand flying it. Usually you're just telling it like, go to this point, fly this airspeed, this altitude, and it does it.
Yeah.
When you're employing tactically, you're hand flying it.
Your hand flying. Yeah.
To do that because, you want to put the aircraft in certain positions to shoot.
Right. Now, we see too much Hollywood where we're like, oh, that thing can like read a license plate from like 15 miles away. And, I've heard it said that like those pilots, they really get to, even though they don't deploy, they see who they kill. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Like the sensors are that good.
Absolutely. Dude, they can see what you're thinking.
Right.
I mean, dude, it's it's all of it, dude. You see it all. There ain't it's not like, oh, it's some blurry. Don't get me wrong, there's different parts of it, but the sensors that are nowadays, and I won't get into the actual details, nerd specs, but like you see it all. And that's part of identifying people when they do these strikes is that that's part of it is they can see that stuff. And so and I saw it and I used to joke like, I lost my soul a long time ago in the gunship world because you're doing those things and you're shooting guys and you're seeing them going to pieces. This is part of the gig, and those guys and gals see it as well, and it takes a toll. And it just is what it is, man. And if you don't like being the hammer, find another line of work. But it does take a toll, and for me, it was never with the MQ-9. It was never like, oh, I'm having this hard time separating my my home life from my work life. It was just you're so amped and jacked. And then you go home and it's like, I can't tell anybody what I'm doing, but I'm just like stoked. It's like getting in a firefight with the boys and all of a sudden you're at your house, and you can't really talk about it and you're all jammed up and jacked up, Where before we'd be like going to breakfast together, we'd freaking be talking about it and then you're flying the next day. So or you're going on another patrol. So it's like you kind of go into
wild.
It. Yeah. So I've had strikes where like it's just strike and then I'm home within an hour and a half and you're just like, dude, I'm just like juiced. You know what I mean? It's like I can't tell anybody, but like I'm just amped up. You know what I mean? Like that was badass.
Did you see that movie with Gerard Butler?
Not yet. I think I may have started, but it's hard for me to.
I know, man. I know, and I'm the same way with like war movies. Yeah, and we talked about this last time. The only one that's really got it right is that warfare movie, like the before scene, and like very few, but like I thought that, it centers around one particular issue the whole time. But, like the point of just being like how it shows like the United States and then this dude's fighting for his life. And it's like, that's just that's a wild thing. Cause I've always said that like you remember World War II, it took like 2 weeks to get back. From like the Pacific, you row back on a boat. The thing with a lot of veterans is like if you get hurt or you have to go home for an emergency or you go home on mid-tour leave for the Army, those guys did that. Like, bro, you're shooting people and then like 24, 36 hours later, you're sitting at a fucking McDonald's, bro.
Yeah.
Like they let your ass out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. They started some programs for us. I don't even really got traction where they had like a decompression time to go to like the deed or something, give you a few beers, you kind of get them water. I think they had some other areas you could retreat to. And I don't even work for us. We had to fly so much, we didn't have time for that. Like they're literally just like, that's before the days of like dwell. Like I'm like dwell, like because dwell became it's a big issue now. Like, and it's like it's a legal thing where before, dude, we were just burning people. Like, dude, some of these gunners, man, like 60 on, 60 off, 60 on, 60 off. They go back 3 and 4 times and see the same Army dudes in the gym that had been there for like a year, and they're just going back and forth because they would fly so much, they'd run out of hours. They'd go home for like 60 days. And so they're just living high low. They're making all the money deployed, doing stuff. And then they come, hitting the gym and they come back and just partying, doing whatever. And then they're going to go back over and get in shape and do it again. And, it's quick, man. It's a lot. And so, it's a part of it, just the decompression time and doing it. And, plus we do like alert stuff as well. So we're always on the hook. It's just, you get desensitized to it. And that's kind of the thing I learned is that I was in it for so long. And when I went to pilot training, I kind of realized that. Because I was a nav doing it. I'm like, oh, this is just what everybody does. And you start talking to people and they have no idea or no clue what you do. Even people that fly in the military or even people that deployed have no idea. And so you tell people, oh, I'm a gunship guy. They're like, oh, like, did you deploy? You're like, yeah, like that's what we do. We shoot people. Bad guys,
Yeah.
you know? And,
Yeah.
I remember I had to get an air medal presented to me when I was in pot training. I was like, I tried to go steal because, I tried to go grab it. They're like,
Mhm.
oh, you got to get an air medal. So you do 20 combat missions, you get an air medal.
Yeah.
And so, and I forgot what number. I think it was like 8 or something like that for me, which like for me, for my community, that's like a child. That's like, oh,
Really?
congratulations. Oh, bro, dude, we got guys with like 30 air medals,
Good God.
DOCs, you know what I mean? Oh, dude, yeah. So I'm just like, I'm a mid-level, just a normal dude. So I'm going there. I'm like, man, this is not, but to them, it was like, a
Yeah.
big deal. Yeah, and so you forget about like not everybody is used to what we're doing and being over there
Mhm.
and shooting and creating those effects and see and then getting going to pod training, kind of get away from it a little bit, and then going to school, you
Yeah.
realize you're just desensitized to it, man. And you're watching
Yeah.
videos of dudes getting cut in half, and you're just like laughing. You're like, this is what this is what we do. And you're like, dude, this isn't normal. You know?
Yeah. That was like back in the day, man. We used to watch like live leak all the time, live leak videos. And then, like, yeah, you're right. And I mean, it's like now people see something. I'll see a video, like the video when Charlie Kirk got shot, right? Like, I
Yeah.
seen that. And it did surprise me because it come up on my feed. And I'm like, this is some banging ass AI. And this is
Oh
like
yeah.
20 minutes after it happened. And then I'm like, no. And then everybody in the comments is like, yeah, and I went and found the breaking news story. And I was like, holy fuck,
Yeah,
dude.
this is real.
But at the same time, I'm like, because there were so many conspiracies about like, oh, it was fake, it was a
Yeah.
blood packet. And I'm like, enough of y'all have not seen what bullets do to human bodies.
Yeah. What a
Because
30-06 will
everyone's like,
do.
they're like, it didn't enter this way. 30-06, it should have blew a giant hole. I'm like, look, man, when bullets fly, weird things happen, bro.
Yeah, his bones and goes other places. No,
Yeah,
I'm with you, man. And yeah, but that's part of it, man. It touches you, and
yeah,
you can't do what we've done and been in combat without it touching you and putting
yeah,
fingerprints on you, in one way or the other. And it's a matter of when it was going to come out. And I think talking about it and being around people that understand it. I think as
yeah.
veterans, specifically transitioning that kind of identity and purpose, and um, being around people or connecting with people that have seen that. It's like people that speak your language.
Mhm.
And I tell you, I had it this week. I was commuting back on a plane, my airline job, and I was sitting next to a dude. And we start talking about airline stuff, and we get into it. And I was like, "Yeah, man, I was a gunship dude, AC-130." Guys, like, "Oh, I was an Apache guy." And then we start
Oh,
yeah. So we start talking about
nice,
shooting, and he's like, "Man, I can't tell you how good it is to talk to another shooter." You know what I
nice.
mean? Like somebody like, I'm like,
Yeah,
I know, man, like, because people don't understand. So we
right.
talk about stuff we do. Like, yeah, you guys always try to snake our kills, going down there with a chain gun, ripping these dudes up, like you and the little birds always snaking them, So we were just
Yeah,
laughing about it, but it was good to connect with somebody because they understand that they've been in that environment and seen it, and it's hard, man.
yeah.
It's hard.
Especially, and that's what I was going to get into. You leave the military, and it occasionally happens to me, man. I run into a guy, Grunt Battalion, did some deployments in GWAT, and you're like, hell yeah, dog, and you kind of shoot the shit for a little bit, and that's like the best feeling because you're like, this guy gets
Yes,
it, right? And
yeah, he
then
speaks my
you don't know
language.
whether like that dude's been having like a really shitty 6 months. You're like, dude, I think I might have made that guy's day, you know?
And I'll tell you what, man, that's really been hitting me a lot lately. And
Yeah.
and I'm starting to do some public speaking in that realm because, I had the perfect transition. And I know we're
Hmm.
kind of going off top a little bit with veteran stuff and identity, but like on paper, I mean, dude, I was a pilot. I was an '05 with an active duty retirement, like going to a great job at an airline gig, good money. I started on terminal leave. All the things are
Man.
great. I didn't even move. So like on paper, it's good. It was good. Don't get me wrong, it was really good. I did skill bridge, man. I had a great transition. Um, but I start getting into my job, and then it's the adrenaline of like, making sure the bills are getting paid, like that transition piece,
Hmm.
retirement ceremony. It's like your wedding. It's a blur. You know what I mean? Like it
Hmm.
ain't for you, it's for everybody else. So you're getting through it, start my job, trying to figure out what's what, and then things start settling in, and the adrenaline kind of wears off, and then you're like, man, this is just a job.
Yeah,
And it's like, and that's kind of what's been hitting me is that I think the saying is right. I don't miss the circus. I miss the clowns, and
that's
and
right.
that's what it is. Is that I miss doing hard shit with good people, and I don't
That's
care
right.
what it is. I don't even
Mhm.
care what we do. I just want to go do something with those guys, and I miss my tribe. And so I start looking into it, and I'm like, oh, like I'm not the only dude. Like
Oh,
this is
yeah.
like This is like everybody. And that's one of the things is not being, in my opinion, not being addressed, or very few people are doing it, is, I talk about the military does a really good job of boot camping you and changing your identity. Shave your head. Like I had to step over a blue line in the middle of the night, like all this stuff, to get you, and change your identity to where you are after whatever, 2-3 months, your identity's changed. But we don't have a reverse boot camp.
Yeah.
To change your identity and purpose of what's this going to be. And so I think, there's great programs for getting you a job, getting you how to write a resume, how to network, how to do your VA benefits, but to figure out who you are and who you want to be, like there's not a lot of people for that. And so that's the situation I've been going through. And it's hard to talk about, finally you kind of rip the Band-Aid off and do about it. And again, it's just like a gunship, not knowing where the friendlies are. Like, am I the only asshole? And I started talking about it to some people, and everybody's like, no, oh, dude, no. I'm going through the same thing, And they say, I guess it's like the first 3 years is like the danger zone. And so that's what kind of got me thinking is like, here I am, dude. I got the gravy train on easy mode. And if I'm having identity and, purpose issues, I can't only imagine what other people are going through. They don't have it as good. They're having to move and do all that stuff and kind of missing, or they live in areas. Because I live near, I didn't move. I live near Hurlburt Field and Eglin and all that stuff. So areas that you're not around other veterans and you're missing that. And so trying to find a way to connect with people. So anytime now I see a veteran, dude, I just, again, talk to them because it may be that, it may light them up to be able to talk about how, how great the chow hall was, the DFAC sucked, or where you used to go get real eggs, this DFAC, what was it? Mongolian barbecue night, you know what I mean? Like all those things, that we have in common, that it's the context that we talked about last episode, that you can have a moment of connecting with a veteran, and I think it's important for all of us to do. And so it's good to hear you're doing it, man. I'm trying to do it more.
Yeah. I mean, this just happened to me last week. Like there was a guy wearing a Semper Fidelis hat, and it's like an older black guy, and this was in the grocery store, and I reached up and tapped him on the shoulder, and I was like, Semper Fi, man. And I shook his hand, and he was like, oh, Semper Fi, yeah. And then we sit there and chit-chatted for a minute, and then when I walked back, I called up to the wife. My daughters both looked at me and they're like, why do you always do that? And I was like, because that man doesn't wear that hat for no reason. That man wears that hat because he was proud of the gun club that he was in. And so, for me to give him the validation, as a fellow member of that gun club,
one of his brothers,
that doesn't bother him. He's wearing that hat for that reason. And, and I can see it, man, especially in like older dudes, it really lights them up, man. It really fires them up. And like you said, you never know, because like I moved across country, like all my boys that still live on the West Coast, they're like, man, we're gonna go up on First Sergeant's Hill and we're gonna replace so and so's cross, and it's like, dude, I ain't got the money to fly 2,000 miles to come do that. Like I'd love to, man, but like real life sucks, and like you said, you get a gravy transition. Even if you do, there's still just life stress that no matter how much money or how much success you have, that's still going to come get you. And, there's a certain point where you're just like, okay, man, like, and I had a buddy who just got out of the Air Force, and he asked me, he was like, so when do I start feeling like shit? And I was like, just wait, dude.
Oh, it's going to come.
But like, I was like, it's going to come. And it's already came. And I originally told him, I was like, give it 3 months. I was like, give it 3 months just for everything to kind of settle down. I was like, it may take longer. It could take a year. I was like, but it's going to come. At some point, you're going to turn around and go, damn, I should have stayed in. Everyone says that at some point. Now you did the full caboodle. Now you could have stayed in, I'm sure. But like for us, it's like, man, you only do 8 years. It's like, walking away. And
but it's like, I joke, it's like a deployment. You're like, as soon as you redeploy, it's like you like teleport back to the end of your last one. It's like, oh my God, like I'm already back. It's the same thing over again. I'm a gym tan laundry. Same routine. But no, I don't miss I miss doing the impossible. I miss doing the hard stuff.
Right. You're like, I mean, and we say the same thing. Like, a lot of the enlisted guys say the same thing. Like, we don't miss the bullshit, but we miss the boys. And
it's like, I wish we could just get together, and do so. I joke, I saw somebody, I'm like, dude, the show, The A-Team, means so much more now, and it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I'm like, oh, those dudes are just some some ODA dudes who did some shit in Vietnam, came back, purpose and identity. They're like, man, let's get together. Let's go use our powers for good. We'll go around the country helping people and having that brotherhood and that sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like, it makes complete sense now, man.
Yeah. But it also but on the other hand, it also leads people to make bad decisions. And because there are people who decide that they want to well, first of all, you have the guys who are depressed and they're going to drink and there's something about, and I want to ask you this question. I haven't asked this question on the podcast, but it happens to me. If you drink, do you get like the military nostalgia when you drink now as a civilian?
Yeah.
Sometimes. Not all the time.
I will say I've cut back drinking a significant amount. And so I still drink. It's not I don't drink, but a lot of it's like how about the identity? Like I want to be somebody health wise and fitness wise. And alcohol, like it serves a purpose. I love it. It's not like I'm like, oh, evil. Like, bro, I love me some beer, love me tequila, love it all stuff. But so I cut back on something. But yes, there are moments when I'm having something, and then you start reflecting, and doing stuff, and that's what I talk about. Is that all those things you jam down start coming back, and happened when I was in. All those things, those feelings, and all of a sudden it hits you. It's like, why am I feeling this way? Like, where is this coming from? It's like, and I don't know if I'm messed up or whatever, but like all my reactions are so delayed. I don't know what's wrong with me, but like I don't process things in the moment. It'll be way after that I actually process something. It happened with my cancer. I start like doing a lot of that where like not until I was in remission, trying to probably like 4 months later when I was trying to rebuild my stuff, to like it finally kick in. And I was like, oh my God, what did I just go through?
Wow.
And so some of those things come out to me. I've had a couple of drinks, and it's like you start processing like what actually happened in doing those things. And so some of that stuff does. But all the nostalgia, missing people and the good times, man. It absolutely comes out.
Yeah, but and then too, vice substances. Other than that, you got people who go join things like motorcycle clubs, and they're like, I just need the boys again. And I'm not saying that, I'm not going to demonize all motorcycle clubs on here, but I will say that some people end up going and getting in trouble for that, because they're like, I miss the club, I miss the boys. They go find something, they get tied up in something they shouldn't be in, and like, so it's like creative outlet, but creative in
positive ways.
Positive, yeah.
Well, it's no different than why young men join gangs.
Right.
Whether you're a motorcycle game or you a Crip, in LA, whatever. I mean, literally it's the same concept, is that, men want to go do something. They want the brotherhood, and they want to go accomplish things. And if they join an organization that doesn't have, based off of core values, doing that, that's what they're going to have. And so I just, kind of what I talk about or what I believe in, man, is using your powers for good and, and influencing others and doing that, man, and focus, and again, outlets like you're talking about that are positive, and reevaluating your habit patterns of who you are and what you do. Yeah. And I think drinking is a lot of it, man. Yeah. Or any kind of substance. Is that, why am I doing this? Is this a positive habit or a negative habit? And a lot of things that we did in the military, we needed the habit pattern wise, was because of that. I probably drank a lot because I was stressed out of my mind and trying to process what I went through, and the combat and all the ops tempo. And, that's probably why I ate. I probably had more weight on me, did things. But do I still need those habit patterns now that I'm out and I'm trying to create a different identity, so I can take the good ones, because there are a lot of great things, man, of discipline and teamwork and all those things, but some of the negative ones we don't need, getting rid of them or dropping those, man. But again, using your powers for good and doing that, and hopefully just encouraging other veterans to do that, and doing it locally, man. It doesn't take much.
Yeah. So why did you decide to get into public speaking?
Because people made me do it. I've always, dude, like, I say that, but I've always, like, it's like complete imposter syndrome, man. I'm like, dude, nobody wants to hear me speak. Yeah. And I'd have, every time I would speak or do something like in a leadership position, or I'd do somebody's retirement, I would just get a lot of positive feedback. People were like, oh my God, like, do you do this? Do you do this all the time? Or like, can you do my retirement? I'm like, oh no, man, it's just me. It's just how I talk, or charismatic. And guy at work for me was always like, dude, he's like, you need to speak when you get out. Yeah, you always just like, do whatever, man. People,
Yeah.
people just saying nice shit about you, and I don't believe it. But then my sister has a podcast. She also has a conference called Mill Money Calm. It's basically for financial professionals in the military space. And
Interesting.
so last year, she asked me to be her keynote speaker at her conference. And I was like, I don't want to do it, whatever. But I was like, okay. But she like knew that like you need to do this. And
Yeah.
you need to do this, and people want to hear from her. So I do it, and I just had such a positive reaction, And
Yeah.
so I had people come up to me, and a lot of it too, is like we talked about, was not even like war stories. It was the camaraderie things. And a lot of that, and that's kind of like people talk about the identity of like people having emotional responses of like, the stories you're telling about being in the crew van, doing stuff that reminds me of the times I had in my experience in doing those things. And so that was kind of my first indication of the whole identity and, purpose part of it. But anyway, I did that. And then I was just like, yeah, whatever. And then I kind of let it go. And then I had some other people reach out to me about doing it. And I'm like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm still in the entry stages of it, man. It's kind of like putting yourself out there is the most awkward part. So like building a website, put it on LinkedIn, telling people you want to do it. But I'm doing it. I got a gig lined up hopefully in September. I can't get too much into it, but hopefully it starts working. But that's kind of my thing, man. I just want to help other people. Like I don't do it really for the money, man. I don't need to do it, but I enjoy talking to people. And I'm hoping my experience of what I've done in the gunship world, my cancer battle, my transition to the civilian world, and talk about the identity and purpose of veterans. And hopefully kind of give people the heads up, and then hopefully that connection. And then maybe I can learn some things about my stuff too, so.
And I'm not saying everyone is unique. Every human is unique. Every human has unique experiences and a unique life, right? But I was told once by somebody who worked in the mental health field, they said the reason that veterans tend to get along with older people is because they've lived a lot of life experience in a very short amount of time. And, a lot of times, like, you'll see guys who are like, this got this keynote speaker or this person, and you're like, man, like, but I've noticed it. It's like I go around a group of civilian guys and we're like in a bar or something, and I sit down with one and he just starts chit chatting, and it never fails that at some point, some life story, the military will get brought up or something like that, or the chicken farm, and I'm over there talking about how many millions of pounds of feed chickens eat. But like when that happens, a lot of times, like my wife says that I can go into a room, people, and by the time I leave, every single person in the room will like me. Now it's that charismatic, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
and you got it. But like,
well, I appreciate it.
That military experience or that life experience, combat, the whole nine, everything, people just find that so fascinating. And people, I think too, that in a normal person's life, and I'm not downplaying civilians, but you go to college, you get a job, you're in the rat race. Yeah, your parents were okay, middle class, you're middle class, you got married, you popped out 2 kids.
Yeah. Clock in and clock out, go on vacation once a year, drink your Bud Light on, Friday night,
Yeah. But like they see that and they're fascinated because they're like, that dude has faced so much adversity. So much adversity. It's this and that. And like man, I survived cancer. I got back in the left seat. And like, that is a fucking incredible story to somebody who just really has lived an average life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know.
But let's say that person's mom died last year.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? They hear Brian Flanigan speak and they're like, you know what? Like, I can make it. If he could make it through everything he did, then I can make it through this. And like, we don't know sometimes like what we say. And that's one of the reasons why I do the podcast is like, you never know when you're going to help one person. And I'm like, bro, if there are 5 people listening to this thing, like, and one person gets something out of it, it was worth all the hours I put into it.
I completely agree. And that's what, in those moments of doubt, those moments of imposter, syndrome of, whatever. That's what I think about is that, hey, listen, man, I'm not trying to sell you a jump to conclusions, Matt, over here. Like I'm literally, I'm literally here just tell you my experience doing stuff. And that's been the hardest part is that, the habits I've had and how I've got to where I'm at in my experience, just like you, is that because I come from a community where, you keep your head down and grind, man. And like, cool, no one cares. You know, like, oh, this and that, save the world. No one cares. Keep working harder. And so you assume that everybody's like that. And you don't really step back and understand that, no, this isn't normal what we've done, what we've been through until you talk with people. And dude, when I used to teach SOS, we had there's a lesson we had to teach, like a health lesson or resiliency lesson. And so you talk about the pillars, you know, mental, social, physical, whatever. So, you know, they're going, I'm asking all these questions, doing stuff. And then I would, you know, because you tailor the lesson, you get to do it. And so I would start going into, I wouldn't tell them anything about my cancer story. And then I'd be like, well, you know, and this is like 75% into the course. You know, I wouldn't say nothing about it. So then we start and we're like halfway in the lesson. I was like, well, you know, we talk about the physical portion of resiliency. I was like, well, I'll tell you guys want to hear a story, you know? And I started telling them, I was like, yeah, I woke up one day and then my arms started swelling, you know? And I started walking. I was like, yeah. And I was like, I had a massive tumor on my chest. And dude, their faces are like, I'm like, oh my God. And so anyway, I go through that and then I kind of have to make it quick because, you know, we're out of time. So I'd always just be like, yeah, you know, do this, that, chemo, whatever. And I'm great now, doing good. And then like it's done and people are just like in shock. And they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, because for me, like, it's no big deal. But I forget that I'm dropping basically an atomic cancer bomb on them. And so like people would tell me like, man, you gotta like ease into it more, or like you gotta like warm turn it, or like give like some more stuff, because people are just like, you know, they leave out of their emotional. You're like, what? Like, it's no big deal, man. But we used to call it dropping the C card. I dropped the C card on people, you know. They're like, holy shit, you know, because that's a part of it, you know. That's really going to the identity stuff of it. Is that when I went through cancer, I was probably to my fault. I was like, man, this isn't going to be my identity. Almost to the point where it wasn't going to be a part of my identity. Like, I'm not going to be one of these dudes that's out there, you know, looking for sympathy, you know, feeling sorry for me because I had cancer, yada, yada. Like, I didn't want to tell anybody, honestly. One, and it's really crazy. I don't know if I mentioned before, like I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
Which is like a weird feeling, like I was ashamed of it, you know? And, but I wouldn't tell anybody because I didn't want to be part of my identity, even though you can't, just like the military, whether you want to or not, it is. And that's what I kind of realized, is that's a part of you no matter what. Even though you don't want to admit it to it or acknowledge it, like, I can't turn that off, man, so accepting it. But I agree, man. I'm just, you know, trying to help people. If it's one person, again, you never know what's going on in somebody's life. And so the more I talk about doing those things, and I think it's just having the courage to say, this is me, this is what I'm feeling, and maybe I'm the only jerk in the room. But what I'm finding out is that there's a lot of other people that are going through this, and I think there's a lot of organizations that want to help veterans and do that and give them outlets. And I think a lot of it's just, and I don't have the answers.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can AI it, I can Google it. Like, how do you solve, you know, identity and purpose issues with veterans? I think it's a lot of reconnection and doing it. I think it's about resiliency and being tough. But I'm hoping as more people talk and do that, that there's people out there listening or part of it that are going to reach out to somebody that may spark that relationship and feel like they're not alone in doing it.
Yeah. And I've always said, like, you know, and you hit right there on it, is like, I've always told people, like, you've got to make the next version of yourself. Like the dude that was in the military, and Josh Weber said it best last episode when he said, hey man, like I asked him how you balance the combat life with that. We were talking about that, and he was kind of like, yeah, man, I got an alter ego. He's in the Helmand province, you know, and like, he's like, hey, when I roll up over there, it's game on, dude. And then when I go back home, it's like, okay, you know, and that's wild, but that's true. Like, right. Like, you got to be able to flip the switch. And, you know, for like, but now the switch is over. It's over, man. Like, you're done, right? You're a civilian again. And now it's time to be like, hey, that alter ego, you got to bury that thing. Like, you can be proud of it and you can remiss on it and you can talk to your homeboys about what happened. But at the end of the day, that has no effect on your life anymore. You've got to deal with you. And now you've got to build resiliency in this life. And then you've got to be a whole new person because you got new sets of issues, bro. You ain't getting shot at anymore. You got to make the mortgage, you know? Yeah.
And I think there's things from that identity that you can take, right? There's a reason why you're successful. Like, it's not the whole identity. It's like, I give an example, like the witness protection program. You know, take some mobster, rats out somebody, and they put them in Iowa, and they got to do a completely different identity. Well, it's still that person, but they're shifting their identity doing that And so I agree with you, man. But the beauty of it is, it's the beauty of it. It's also the scary part is that it's a
Mhm.
blank canvas.
Yeah.
And you can be whoever you want to be. You don't have to be, and I think that's talking about is that you don't have to be chained to that personality that you were before, that identity of those habit patterns. And you can create
Yeah.
who you want to be. You know, you want to eat different, you want to work out different, you want to look different, you want to have, I mean, you can do that. And so
Yeah.
I think um, some people get stuck in that. And
Right.
I can see why there's guys always wanting to talk about their military experience and
Mhm.
doing that because it meant so much to them and they don't have an avenue to do that. But um, yeah, it's wild, man. And it's like I said, it's exciting, but it's also scary shit at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because, like, that's what one guy told me. Like, he was on terminal, he's still getting paid, and he's like, "Bro, I'm so scared." And I was like, "Hey, man, look, I've been out here winging it since 2016, baby, and
Yeah,
I ain't homeless yet."
yeah,
So I was like, you get to this point where you're just like, it's like somebody. Okay, I'm gonna tell this story real quick, and then I got one last question. Okay, my wife's pregnant with our third, so
congrats.
thank you. So we were doing a routine OBGYN appointment. And me and this other guy were chit chatting about a toy he had with his kid. He had his younger kid in there, his wife's in there, and he's playing with his toy. So we start chit chatting. Well, I guess the guy across the room, he's like, "Oh, the boys are talking. I need to go over here," because he's holding the little picture, you get when they do the ultrasound.
Yeah,
And he's like, and he sits down and he's like, he's like real soft spoken guy. And he's like, "This is my first one. Like, do you guys have any advice?" And, I looked at the other guy and he just looked at me. So obviously he's not as like outgoing as me. So I'm like,
yeah.
fuck it.
I'll take the
I'm up.
lead.
Yeah. So I looked at the guy and I was like, homeboy, I was like, you will never. I was like, my oldest is 9. And I was like, I still feel like I'm winging it. I still
Yeah.
feel like a child myself. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
you're never going to feel like it's all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that it's not okay. It's that it's
Yeah.
just like you're not getting everything right. You're never going to, bro. It's
I
just
see that mine are 16 and 14. They're the same way. It's just
yeah,
because they grow in different phases, and some days you feel like you're doing it right. Some days you feel like the worst dad on earth. You know what I mean? Like, but
yeah,
again, it's just not giving up, and I think having good intentions. And that's with
yeah,
anything in life is that, hey man, I'm trying to do the right thing here. And
right.
staying positive. You have some good days, bad days, man. Just be resilient.
Yeah, yeah, and like I mean, and it's that same. You take that same lesson there, and you just apply it to you getting out of the military, and you're gonna be a civilian again, man. It's like, bro, you just like you don't remember because like I don't know about you, but I joined when I was 17. I was a child,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I never lived a real. I was never a real adult, you know.
Yeah.
And I call my mom now sometimes, and I'm like, bro, adulting sucks, dog. you
You're
know.
right. You're right about everything.
Yeah, you know, and but yeah, I mean, it's just you just learn to do it. And so my advice to any guys out there is like, you're not alone, man. Like it sucks,
Yeah.
it blows. Like
Yeah.
just like the same thing that in the military, one minute we were like, "Fuck yeah, America," and the next we're like, "This is the dumbest organization on the
Yeah.
fucking planet."
How are we the most powerful military in the history of the
Yeah,
world?
yeah.
But we can't do these simple things.
Yeah. And I mean, straight up. So, but anyway, okay. How important is physical fitness to your mental state?
For me, it's everything.
Hmm.
And again, I don't know if it's just me, how it is, but everything um, is my foundation for it. So and I would say the physical portion of, I don't mean just working, I mean nutrition as well, eating. And
Yep. Right.
I would argue that's probably recently I made a lot of changes in my diet, nutrition, and I think that's probably had a lot bigger impact than just the working out piece of it. But I think it's everything for me, man, because everything is built off that. You're in a better mood when you're working out, lower weight, leaner, you feel better. When
Hmm.
when you're at your fighting weight, dude, you have confidence.
Hmm.
I mean, like be able to take your shirt off and be a man. Like it's
Yeah.
all those things that do that. It's everything, man. It's just a habit pattern of doing it. I mean, I absolutely love it, man. And again, it's the nutrition part of it. And so
Yeah.
I got to
I,
hold back.
I mean, like, I feel like the officer corps is really good about that. Right. Like, so when you see an officer who's gotten out of the military and they're a civilian, they're still like physically fit. The enlisted are terrible with it. We're like poor people, man. We're like
Yeah.
poverty. You know, it's
Yeah.
like you see this guy and he was fighting weight, and then you find him like 5 years later and he looks like he ate himself 3 times, and he's like, man, it's just not going good, dog. And you're like, bro,
Well, there's a reason why. Well, there's a reason why. He's probably eating his feelings.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of it. There's, you know, and I have, you know, I'm a stockier dude. You know what I mean? I have the ability to put on muscle, which is great, but I also have the ability to put on fat, you know, depending on what it is. But I think you have to build the habit pattern. And have you read I don't know if I mentioned that book, Atomic Habits? You ever read that book by James Clear?
No, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
I would anybody listening, I'd highly recommend it, because it goes into essentially stuff we're talking about, identity and purpose. And that's the whole premise of it, is that, you know, we've been more goal-oriented taught in our life about our personal habits and doing stuff like, hey, I want to get in better shape. So I want to lose weight. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to bench press this, do that. But the issue is that's not how you do it. Because say you lose 20 pounds, bench whatever, how many pounds, you know, 200 pounds, then what? You know, the movie credits roll, then what? You know, I want to run a marathon. I run a marathon, then what? You know, it's like, dude, where's my car? And then, you know, they're ordering the food, and then, and no more, and then what happens? And so the whole premise is you're changing your identity in small increments. And so not saying that, hey, I am, you know, I want to lose 20, 30 pounds, right? Say, I want to be a healthy person. I may be 300 pounds, but starting right now, I identify as a healthy person. So what would a healthy person do? You know? So when I go to do certain things, you know, as opposed to ordering, you know, a number 5 McDonald's supersize with a heavy Coke, well, a healthier person probably would get the Diet Coke, you know? And granted, that doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a mindset shift, you know? And then it's these other little things. Well, maybe I just won't supersize it.
Yeah.
And they start doing that. And then, well, I'm a healthy person, so maybe I'm going to, you know, I'm going to get up to change, like little things like that and doing it. And so, that book has really changed my life as I kind of transition, you know, to who I want to be and why, and changing little stuff with it. But I believe in nutrition, man. I think we've been lied, and I know it's kind of off topic, but we've been lied to about what we should eat, when we should eat, how we should eat, how much. It's all a lie. And the reality is that our bodies are not designed to process how we've been told to eat. You know, and it's essentially grain and sugar.
Yeah. Sugar and grain.
Grain is sugar, and that's what it is. And so there's a really good book called The Primal Blueprint. I highly recommend it. Anybody wants to get it, read it, which essentially breaks that down, is that this is how we're designed to eat. Our bodies are from 100,000 years ago.
Yeah. But
the agricultural revolution of like 10,000 years ago, like we haven't caught up to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so when you start looking at that, it's actually very, very simple how you eat.
Yeah.
Right? You eat plants and animals. It's that simple.
That's it.
If it's not a plant and animal, don't eat it.
Yeah. If it's not real food.
Not real food, don't eat it.
Don't eat it.
Just don't eat it. It's that simple. And I think what you're going to find is it's going to put you in a better mood. It's going to make you like, you're going to sleep better. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people sleep bad, you know, because they're drinking before they go to bed, which ruins their sleep. They're eating like crap. And they're on drugs. That's essentially what our food is. Our food is drugs. And so if you're eating processed foods, and don't get me wrong, dude, I crushed like 3 brownies last night and some ice cream and I had a couple of beers watching the soccer game. So like I did it, but like that's not my normal. You know what I mean? That's like, man, I feel I'm in a mood, a special occasion, let's do something. My normal is not that.
Right.
But you're on drugs. And so it's just high, low. Sugar crash after sugar crash, man. So anyway, I know. But anyway, it's important to me. I believe it's everything doing it. I think walking is the most important thing you can do, and doing resistance training and your nutrition. That's it.
Yeah.
Plants, animals, strength training, and walking for an hour and a half each day. You do that, bro, you're gonna be in the top 1%.
Yeah, and I'll add on to that. And I want to say that, because I'm like, moderation, man. Everything in moderation. Like if you just start with moderating, like you're talking about, like, okay, I've had more than 2 Cokes today. Okay, I'm not gonna have another Coke, right? Just simple changes like that. That's how I actually stopped drinking. I was like, okay, I'm moderated. And then that shifted the mindset where I was like, oh, I don't have to consume them if I see them in the fridge. Right?
Yes.
And you're like, okay, right. We're making progress here.
I think it also you start asking the questions of, why do I want one? And I started doing, because I do like 16/8 fasting.
Yeah.
And what that does is that you start thinking is that, why am I want to eat right now? Am I tired? Am I stressed? Or am I bored? And for me, mine is tiredness and stress. When I'm tired and stressed, I want to eat. And so for so long, I would just, hand them out, like, go, and just gorge. And it's like, then I feel like shit. But it's like, I'm just stressed. So is there a bet? I'm recognizing it. And is there a better way? I'm not saying I get it right all the time, or I reach for a drink.
Right.
It's like, no, I don't really want to drink. I'm just stressed out. So maybe I just, I need some water. I need to go for a workout, do a walk, do something else, an outlet, and then get over it.
Yeah. And I'll say that, like, I've so many people lately, and it's funny because I was actually talking to I got like a therapist that I go see, and honestly, I just go to my therapist and we just talk shit to each other the whole time at this point. We're like literally, like, I go in there and I'm like, bro, is everyone else on the planet an idiot but me, you, and like 4 other people that I know? And they'll be like, here we go. I'm like, it's hot today, baby. Buckle up.
I'm in a mood.
Yeah, like, but like, it's not really for like even the shit that I originally started to go there for, because I unsolved that shit. I done moved on. Like, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, why am I even going? But it's because I have a personal relationship with this person, and not like, like physical, but like,
Well, it's good to connect with somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's to connect and have that relationship and talk. And I think as humans, we need that. And I went through a time where when I got out, man, I kind of wanted to withdraw from the world. And I don't know if that's a normal feeling. I just want to, like, man, I don't really want to talk to anybody. I don't want to hang out with anybody. Like, I just want to, I don't be by myself. And I think I was kind of withdraw from it. But then I started finding, like we talked about, like, when I engage somebody, I'm like, man, I might lighten up. Like, I'm in such a good mood.
Yeah.
Like, I get to connect with somebody. Like, man, this is awesome. Like, there may be something here. There may be something here. You know what I mean? And so, I think it's all of it, man. I think it's the identity stuff. I think it's, having your nutrition, having some sort of physical workout, doing it, man, and having that connection with people.
You're right. I got down into a rabbit hole. The one thing I wanted to add was T levels. So, like, call it the placebo effect, and I ain't got no shame in saying it. I got mine tested and it was way low. So I'm on like week 2, and I decided to take it every day. And so I'm on like week 2, but I'm like over here like looking in the mirror, and I'm like, damn, dude, like, yeah, boy, you getting it, dog. And like, like, I'm like, I stay working out, I'm like, but one reason I took it was because I got down to like basically like not my high school weight, but like not far over it. So I was like 135 when I graduated high school. I'm like 150 now. And I'm like, no. I've done lost enough fat. Now but like, I kind of was like, look, man, but like the mentality, it makes you feel better. So like sometimes, like we talked about, there's times where you've got to push through and persevere, and you've got to change some things, and you've got to change some habits, and then you've got to change a diet. But then there's also things that you can't control. And so for the guys out there, like, hey, look, man, it's just a quick blood test. And hey, just check it.
Yes.
See where it's at, man. Like, talk to your doctor about it and be like, yeah, like, I kind of want to try that. Because if it's low, I'm telling you, you feel like you're 20 years older than you are. It's ridiculous. And like now, I'm like, dude, I'm coming home at the end of the day, and instead of taking a nap, I'm like, all right, what do I need to get done? Because I'm like, I'm feeling it still,
Yeah. No, I agree. I think I would add on that. I think getting your blood checked for everything, all the screens, colon cancer, getting your colonoscopy, dude. I know a lot of that shit's not, like, it's awkward. I'm going to do it. But like, I'm telling you, as a cancer survivor, early identification of all this shit is just going to save you. Right. And if you can identify these things early, most of the time they can get after it and take care of it.
Yeah.
It's when you let things go and all of a sudden, like, you start shitting blood. Like, that's what my doctor told me, man. He's like, dude, you start shitting blood, it's too late. It's over. Wow. It's over. And so getting those screens, man, and making sure, your bros and your sister, everybody you're talking to, like, making sure they're doing that self-care, man, because that early identification, because that resiliency piece too, we talk about, physically being ready, being socially connected to people, mentally, spiritually, all those things is for when you get into a gunfight. Right? Because it's going to happen. You're going to go through something, right? And so I was grateful when I went through cancer that I started from a position of power, of resiliency, right? I was healthy. I was in a good spot, right? I was ready for a gunfight, man. I was ready. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you what, man, if you're not, if if you're not physically right, or if you're not socially connected or spiritually, you're off, or things are going and you're in the yellow and red, and then all of a sudden something gets dumped in your lap, like a death in a family, or some sort of disease, or something, right? Financial hardship,
Mhm.
marriage, all the things, dude. It's gonna be very, very hard to deal with that when you're behind the power curve. And so that's what I
Yeah.
encourage everybody, man, is getting in the green and all that stuff. And you're the only one that's gonna know that. Right? You're the
Right.
only one that's going to know is that, hey, man, I need to, improve in these areas and change some habit patterns, because the fight's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. You just don't know when it's going to come. And so, do you want to be ready for it? Where you can handle from power position, or you want to be behind the power curve when it gets dropped in your lap? Because it may not just be you. Maybe your family, maybe your kids, maybe your wife, your parents, your friends.
Right.
And so they need you to be strong, man, using those powers for good. And if you're not ready for it, you're not going to be helpful.
Yeah. And I like on the physical piece, I always tell people like, look, healthy people are harder to kill.
Damn
Like
right.
that, you know what I'm saying? Like just name it, bro. Like car accident, plane crash, cancer, anything. I mean, the list goes on. Taking a bullet, anything. Like and then on the mental piece, it's like, man, if you're running around being like, I'm just having some problems. Yeah, like the wait till your kid winds up in a hospital, and now you're the man of the hour, right? It's your
Yeah.
time to shine, to hold the family together, and you know what I'm saying? And so
I
you're
agree.
absolutely right that like that shit can come from nowhere, and now it's, hey bud, like game's up, step up, and
Yeah.
yeah, and another thing on like food, man, is like, dude, I don't know. It's hard because I have so many opinions and I have to keep it straight on this podcast. But
I know,
like,
yeah.
look, without getting into some conspiracies, man, eat real food and stop using what used to be farm lubricant, i.e., seed oils, in your food.
Yes.
And if you do those things and you eat animal fats and you eat real food and you eat vegetables, man, I'm going to tell you, that will change your life, bro. I went to a Mexican restaurant the other day and then drank 3 beers afterwards, went to a friend's house. And like, I woke up the next morning and I'm like, damn, like I could just feel it. Wasn't hungover or nothing, but I could just feel it. And I was like, bro, I'm so in tuned right now, baby, that like one little thing, I'm like, ooh,
Well, that's like me, dude. I had that last night as my little splurge, like my Friday night.
Yeah.
And dude, I feel like shit today. I'm just like, I went to the gym. I feel like I'm 1,000 pounds. I feel heavy. I'm just like, bleh. And it's all that glycogen, all that sugar that I got in my body. And it's going to take me 2 days to get it out. I'm like, well, why did I do that? Because I mean, don't get me wrong, killing them brownies was worth it. But no, I agree, man. I think you do that, and I think everybody should weight lift or do some sort of resistance training, man. And I think as men specifically, some sort of that hormonal response of lifting weights and doing resistance. And I know it's not easy, man, and it's a habit pattern. And again, you don't got to go to a gym, man. You can do the prison workout. Get on YouTube, man. Just be freaking doing push-ups, sit-ups, dips. Find something to do a pull-up on, man. Just start small and just do one a day, whatever it takes, man. Because we're supposed to be, again, the mentality as we grow is changed completely. You look at videos from the 80s and 70s, and people were so thin and lean compared to now. So it's like, oh, if I get old, I'm supposed to be fat and feeble. And that's not what it should be, man.
No, and that's why I tell people, like, my biggest thing is like, if I could save anybody's life right now, and you're like, I want to take their advice. Look, like you said earlier, if I had to start you today, sugar and grains. Like, if there's nothing else, if you make no other changes, because I'm gonna tell you right now, Alzheimer's is starting to get connected now, without spouting some unverified papers.
Yeah.
Alzheimer's is starting to be called type 3 diabetes around the world, except here in the US. We haven't acknowledged it. And it's like that's my biggest fear, man. Like, dude, if I get in a wheelchair, fuck it. It is what it is. That L5S1 disc just finally gave it up.
Yeah,
right?
But mechanically, I'm wrong.
Yeah. But man, if I lose my mind, that's scary, dog. That is scary.
Really scary. Not gonna know your family, like I completely agree, man. And like I said, and again, all this is like, it doesn't have to be 100% of the time.
Yeah.
90% of the time, dude. You can do 90% of the time And what you're going to find out, I think, is that you're actually going to enjoy those habits. I
Yeah.
generally enjoy lifting weights. Like
Right.
I get to go lift weights. Like I'm excited for it. Like after I eat a clean meal, like it's like, dude, that like actually nourished me. It's weird. You start eating that way. Like this is a weird concept. I ate and I don't feel like shit. How is that possible? Like I
Right.
don't feel bloated. I don't feel terrible. I get to eat protein. I love
Yeah.
protein. Like eat all the chicken you want, eat all the steak you want, dog.
Man, I just thought of this. Like when you said that, I've never thought of this. It's like we have psyoped ourselves, bro. Think about it. All the holidays, all the movies, think about it. Every time the guy gets up from the Thanksgiving table, he rubs his stomach. He's like, oh, yeah, but I ate. Now I need to lay down for a nap. That's your body telling you you messed up.
Yes.
Like,
Yes, it's like I can't process this. Like, dude, and don't be wrong, being like you can overeat it, but like, It's very hard just to eat
Yeah,
steak, chicken, pork,
yeah,
fish. Like, good
hmm,
luck. Good luck eating 10 pounds of that. Like
yeah,
stuffing. Like, you could probably do
mm,
that. Chocolate. You could probably do that
yeah,
because that is what you're genetically designed to do. It is in your DNA to want sugar and fat
right,
because in 100,000 year ago, it was so freaking scarce that if you got it, you want to get all of it, right?
right,
But the issue is that ain't the case no more. It's everywhere. It's a drug. And
yeah,
they pump it into us. And it's just a matter of how you want to do your drugs.
mm.
It's like cocaine. You can snort it, you can probably smoke it, you can do however you want. It's like, oh, I prefer my sugar in a coffee. I like mine in a pizza, or I like mine in, a chocolate brownie. Like it's
Yeah.
all sugar and you're all getting high, man.
And see, I tell people like I'd have made a change like for like coffee. Like I drink it black, but like I put maple syrup in there, and I don't
Yeah.
buy
Yeah.
the fake syrup, the real
Yeah.
expensive
Natural syrup.
$9 a bottle maple
Yeah.
syrup, dude. And it's a natural sugar, and it's like, look, that do I still eat? Hell yeah, I had Chick-fil-A the other day. It was great,
Yeah.
right? Like, hey, look, man, I'm not telling you to live your life and be depressed, but like take some responsibility for your mental health, your physical health, and take control of your life. And when you do that, dude, when you wake up in the morning and feel like you own it, and you're like, yeah, I got this, Dave, and you go out there and you hit those weights first thing in the morning, and then you walk back in the house, and then you're getting ready for work, you're like, fuck yeah, dude, like I got this
It's a
today.
force multiplier, man. It is,
Right.
dude. I mean, I'm telling you, it'll change your life. And again, it's a journey. And
Yeah.
anybody listening out there, like, it's not a perfection. It's just starting and just keep
Right.
showing up. That's all this
Mm-hmm.
is. And all these things, man, is that you have good days and bad days. Just keep showing up, man. Just
Yeah.
keep getting up, keep clocking in, keep doing it, man. And, I coach football too, man, and they would preach attitude, effort, and focus. That's the only three things you can control, right? That's it. So your positive attitude, you're giving your effort and your focus, man. And then after that, you can sleep good at night, right? Your
Yeah.
bed's made. I did all I could do, man. And let the chips fall they may, And I think if people do that, man, things are gonna be they're gonna find out that their luck is gonna be in the good side of it because they're gonna
Yeah.
create it.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, yeah, yeah. Like you make your mentality for the situation you're in, and you can manipulate the situation you're in by changing your outlook, you know. But
I stole that
like
from Tim
it's
Tebow.
did you?
Yeah, man. Hey, I got
Tim
no
Tebow's
original
great.
thought. He's awesome, but that's what he taught. Attitude, effort, and focus, man. I preach it.
Yeah. Man. Dude, it's been great, man. Like it's been cool to hear the end, you know.
Yeah,
And dude, I wish you all the luck, man, in public speaking. You got it, man. Like
I
your
appreciate it.
ability to get the point across, and just like you've got the charisma. Like I after the first episode, I walked back in there, and my wife always asked like how each guest was, and I was like, bro, that was one of the best episodes. I was like, that guy's so fucking cool.
Yeah, my wife wouldn't say that.
Yeah, but like I mean, it's funny because it's funny because like I'll meet people that my wife's friends with, and then or like they'll come back and be like, oh, he's so cool. She's like, shut up, bro, he's terrible. Don't
Yeah.
stroke his ego, or you're gonna screw it up, but like, yeah, man. And I mean, I think you're, yeah, like yeah. And you as an example, like you said, you've gone through stuff, and like, you may feel like, oh, well, that didn't feel like a lot to me. People have had it worse, but at the same
Yeah.
time, man, like when you talk to people, it's just like, it's just like when you can make someone sit back and go, okay, yeah, I can do this. Like that's worth it. Even if I put myself out there and I feel like I'm like, like you said, it's hard to sell yourself, man.
Yeah,
Like
they're all
really
gonna laugh at you,
dude. I mean, even for this podcast, I have to sell myself sometimes, and it's an uncomfortable place to sell yourself. Like you want to talk about some psychology, try to sell yourself.
Oh, dude, I'd rather charge at beaches in Normandy.
Yeah, man. So any last words?
No, I'm very thankful Alex let me come on here, man, tell my story over two episodes. So hopefully some of the stuff resonated with people, man. And like I said, if anybody ever needs any help, man, look me up. All of my social media's on there. Brian Flanigan, dude, my LinkedIn, website, X. Just hit me up, dude. Use my powers for good. So.
Yeah, what was that? Do you want me to put your website in the show
notes?
If
you don't mind. Okay. Yeah, it's just Brian-Fawcett. It's brian-flanigan.com. And then that's got links to like my social media on there for like LinkedIn and X and stuff like that. So yeah, if anybody knows anybody needs a speaker, man, I can go up there and tell lies with the best of them.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Again, thank you for everything you did. For flying the MQ-9 and the C-130, man, like that, it's a huge deal to the guys on the ground. It truly is. Like you call it killing from the couch, but man, we call it watching our ass, dude, because that's how it is. And again too, like what you do now as an airline pilot, man, it's an unglorious job, and a lot of people think it's fun, but like we talked about offline, it's a grind, and every job's a grind, and your attention to detail. Like, I always wonder like who my pilots are, and you find out a lot of them are former military, and I have a feeling like if I ever find out you're my pilot, I'll be like, hell yeah, we're in good hands here. He's not going to stick the landing. Might be a little rough.
We'll see how this landing goes before we, pat him on the back too much.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks. And listeners, I'll see you guys next week.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious. I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad.